Good morning, everyone. Appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and basically attend our first what we're calling a quarterly webinar. If you recall back at Trib, for those of you that were there when we did our Trib presentation, we talked about communication and communicating with you as our customers and just figuring out ways to do that in a more efficient and effective manner to allow some of this two-way dialogue to happen. We talked about coming out on site and starting to do on-site visits in your stores, at your offices. Those are starting. The sales team have been scheduling some of those out. So if they haven't talked to you about that, they will be talking to you about those on-site visits. So we're excited about that. We talked about forming an Rto Council. Basically, like a monthly or every other month group setting to where we can get your guys' feedback and thoughts on things that we're working on with the system, et cetera. That has not been formed yet. That's actually an action item that Jan's working through. And so, we'll be working through the details of that and hopefully getting that kick-started here real soon. And then the last piece of the communications thing were quarterly webinars, which is what this is. And so we want to take it as an opportunity to update you on some things that we've recently, released and have deployed and that are available to you, as well as things that are just right around the corner. And then give you a sneak peek into, some of the more longer term projects that we're working through. And then just open that dialogue with you, get your guys' thoughts, feedback, et cetera, questions, so that we continue to make the software better, to make your operations more efficient. So with that, I will we'll jump into the slide deck material. I do ask if you have questions, if we could hold those till the end, just so we can make sure we get through all the content, and then we'll be happy to stay on and answer those for as long as we need to. So. Donna. Thank you. So Donna's MCing for us on the PowerPoint slide. So for those that don't know me, Jason Mock, Senior Vice President of our Software Solutions Division at High Touch. I've been with the company almost 20 years. I know many of you and have interacted with you on numerous occasions. Again, glad you guys are here. Jan Miller will be presenting on a couple of items. Jan's our Director of Sales. If you don't know him, please let me know, because we need to chat about that. So hopefully you all know who Jan is. Gary Myers, Gary's our software engineering architect. So he's on the call with us. He's designs a lot of the new software features and functions. He's also one of the key folks architecting out cynergi as we modernize modules and move the platform forward. And then we have Kate Wolff. Kate's a senior business analyst. For those of you that use our home office and home office accounting, you've probably spoken with her at some point in time. She is one of our senior, accounting support folks as well, and helps with any accounting issues and problems that you have. Her most recent role, she's helping with the back office, home office accounting modernization effort around cynergi, and she's going to demo that for you today. So I'm excited to be able to show you some of that. All right, so just a quick agenda. So pay by text. For those of you that were at the Trib breakout that we had, we received some feedback in that meeting about pay by text and how that could be a powerful tool, but we were making it too difficult for customers to be able to use that. So Jan's going to dive into some of the enhancements we've made to that pay by text platform based on that feedback we got in that Trib breakout and presentation. Then he's also going to cover our Darwil integration rollout. For those that don't know, Darwil is an automated direct mail marketing system. So Jan's going to jump into the details around the Darwil integration. And then I'm going to demo the digital signature capture. that we've been working on. So I know we talked about that at a high level at Trib. We're at a point where I can demo it. It is not at a point of being complete per se, but I can at least show you the framework and the rails and how that workflow happens so that you can see what's coming, and we can talk about what's left for that team to build out to make that platform truly go for you in your operations. And then I'm going to turn it over to Kate. Kate's going to do a home office accounting demo. Again, she's going to walk through the updates we've been working on: PO, AP, general ledger, bank reconciliation, and in that fully modern HOA platform. So that's what we're going to walk through today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jan, and he's going to cover our pay by text and some of the enhancements that have been worked on with that. Jan?
I am here. Hey, good morning, everybody. Glad you guys are here with us today, and really excited to talk about a couple of the enhancements that we've got that Jason mentioned. And one of the things that we did learn at Trib, we did get some feedback, as he mentioned, about some of the challenges that people were having with our current pay by text platform, and we got some really good input about what we could do to change that and improve it. So just kind of setting the stage for how it worked before. A customer would need to sign up through your online payment site, create a user account, receive a PIN number, and then they could use what we call a short code for in text messaging language to be able to get their balance and then also make a payment via text message. But that process was really driven by the customer. So some companies are really good about promoting that and getting it going and get customers excited about it, but it did take some effort to do that. So what we've done is really simplified the way that you can use that tool and really supercharged it and tied it in with our campaign platform as part of integrated into cynergi. So a lot of you guys are doing the campaign text messaging and the one-on-one text messaging, so you're familiar with how those messages work. But essentially what you can do now is when you're building out a text message campaign, and say, for example, it's a friendly payment reminder, where, hey, Jan, I get a text that says, hey, Jan, your payment's due today in the amount of, X, please contact the store to make that payment. What we can really change that now is we can incorporate the short code message of pound pay into that message. So the message would be a little bit different now. It would essentially be, hi Jan, your payment in the amount of $29.95 is due today. Please respond with pound pay, and we will process the card on file. So it really supercharges your campaign messages, because now the customers can actually pay through that campaign by simply using pound pay. That also can be done through a two-way communication with the customer. You could respond back. Your account manager could hey, just go ahead and respond back with pound pay, and that payment will be made with the card on file. So it's just that simple. So we really have taken where the customer was really driving it before, you're really driving it now, and you're actually taking your campaign text messaging tool and turning it into yet another way that a customer can simply make a payment. So we really think those campaign messages are going to have a lot more of a positive impact on your business, and get your delinquencies down even further by using that tool. So we're very excited about it. Again, the same rules apply when you're doing text messaging. The same messages apply. Customers be able to opt out and that sort of thing. So it's all tied in with the tools that you already have with your campaign text messaging. So if you have if you're not using text messaging or not familiar with the campaign capabilities or the one-to-one capabilities in text messaging, please reach out to one of us in the account management team, and we'll be happy to take you through it, do a demo, show you how super easy it is for you to set campaigns up and how to manage those campaigns, because they've got a lot of great filters. They're all automated, so it's kind of a set and forget. Once you create a campaign, it just runs until you tell it not to. And there's a lot of great filters in there so that we can control, who gets that campaign message and what it looks like to them. And there's also marketing opportunities there too. It doesn't always have to be about collection. And I see a question here, is this live now? Mark, we're in the process of internal testing. So it's close, and we'll be looking for some partners to beta test here within the next few weeks, but we've just got a few details we're working out, but we're very close to having this ready.
Okay.
Oh, and I think there was another question I saw from Wolff about partial payments. I don't think the partial payment capability is part of this particular upgrade yet, Wolff. It's because really the campaign text messaging capabilities, when they make payments, I don't think support partial payments, but let me take that away and I'll get you an answer on how we're looking, what we can do with partial payments.
I think that's accurate, Jan, because again, it's all about just making it as simple as possible for the payment, right?
Right.
But that's something that we can take back and look at, to your point, where they can maybe do hashtag pay in an amount, right?
Right. We'll do that as part of the testing. And I saw we just have a volunteer. Mark was nice enough to volunteer, so thank you, Mark. So anyway, like I said, I think this is a really powerful enhancement. I think it's really going to supercharge what you're doing with campaign text messaging and help get those collection numbers down. We'll go ahead and move on to the next slide.
Dan, you actually forgot one of the features and functions.
Forgive me, go back here. What did I miss? Let me see.
No, I was just one of the perks of using this. So just wanted to announce to everyone. So in the past, pay by phone and pay by text have been $10 a piece per location per month, right? To leverage those features and functions. And so we're actually doing away with that. So there's not going to be a licensing charge to use pay by phone or pay by text. It'll just strictly be usage only. So obviously the dialing and the texting piece of it, right? For using that functionality. So there won't be a license fee associated with either one of those add-ons. So
thanks for pointing that out, Jason. Yeah, exactly. It used to be a bundled rate of $15 if you're using both features, and we're doing away with that. This will be a free feature, so that's super important. Thanks for reminding me that. Okay, I think we're ready for the next slide. Okay, the Darwil integration. This is another very powerful marketing tool that we're really excited to be partnering with Darwil. They seem to be one of the premier direct marketing companies in the RTO space, and we had a number of clients come to us and ask us about working with them. And so it was easy decision to see after they're doing and what a great platform they have. And so we're really happy that they're a vendor partner. Essentially what they're able to do is do some very, very targeted direct mail programs, working with you and setting up, the different type of direct mail that you'd like to do. That's really between you and Darwil. Where high touch comes in and where we add the value to this particular relationship is being able to have that data available that we can create exports. And in creating that export, it's a secure export. It's very targeted. It's based on what your program is with Darwil. And that is it can be set up on different frequencies. So meaning, it could be a daily feed, a monthly feed, depending on what kind of program it is. So these are really highly sophisticated direct mail campaigns that have a secure data transfer protocol that's used to move the data behind the scenes out of cynergi and into the Darwil system so they can push out those direct mailers. And we've heard some stories out there that they've had great success with their targeted direct mail. You want to go ahead and move to the next slide. So how does it work? Essentially, again, you're working with Darwil to shape a campaign depending on what you're targeting. They work with us in the background to tell us what data elements it is that they would like to be able to have uploaded automatically based on the type of campaign that it is. And then those campaigns can be set up on a recurring basis. So once they work with us, we're able to get the data identified and then have that scheduled to them on a regular cycle, depending on what you determine with Darwil. It does require us to work with them directly. So if you have some interest in working with Darwil, reach out to my team and we can get you guys connected and get the process set up and handle the side that we do, in the background on the high touch side. And that is something that's available today. So if you guys have some interest in moving on that, reach out to my team and we'll get you set up and get you going. You could be up and running here pretty quickly. So those are the two. Okay, I'm sorry, there's a third slide. My apologies. And these are the kind of things that we're also targeting. It could be paid full letters, new agreement, thank you letters, for example, birthday cards. It could be collection, directed collection letters. Maybe a post marketing after you've had some return merchandise picked up, and just see if you can do some more business with the customer. New agreement incentives and one agreement letters. I think what that speaks to really is, somebody that has a washer that maybe they need a dryer, or somebody maybe that has a flat panel TV, but you like to promote a gaming system. So, what I think what makes Darwil really unique is they're looking at the data in the background that makes sense around these promotions. So it's, you get a lot more bang for your buck, as I understand it, as far as the direct mail piece and getting that in the hands of the right target market. So less shotgun and more, highly targeted type of promotional direct mail, which direct mail in the RTO space is still a very powerful marketing tool. So, and again, just to be clear, that is available today. If you have some interest, just reach out to us and we'll get the ball rolling for you. And I also want to reemphasize too, there's no charge for this this Darwil integration piece on the high touch side. This is just something we've partnered with them. We saw the benefit to the industry, and if you want to get it going, it's like I said, it's a no charge upgrade from high touch's perspective. So that said, that's what I've got this morning. And again, appreciate you guys joining us this morning, and I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Jason.
I was going to say, I think you have one more slide, Jan, about needing to be configured by client, and just contact your sales rep for more information. So next slide, Donna. Thanks. All right, digital signature capture. This is a biggie. Something we've been talking about for a while. It's something that we know you guys are looking forward to. You can go ahead and move forward to the next one, Donna. This has taken us a little bit of time, and I just wanted to explain some of the backstory to that. So we took a real hard look at some of the big boys in the space, right? The DocuSigns, the Adobe e-signs, et cetera. And I don't know any other way to slice it other than it's super expensive. I don't know if any of you have ever looked at using or utilizing digital signature capture from any of those companies. They charge you on a per signature basis. There's a user count limitation of how many people can actually send out documents for signature. And then there's additional fees for storage, et cetera, right? So when we looked at that, it just didn't make sense to us for the cost. Matter of fact, we looked at it for high touch internally and decided not to leverage any of those because of the expense associated with digital signature. So that's where we just stepped back and took a look at, okay, what would it take for us to build this in-house to provide you guys what you need for digital signature capture? And that's the path that we took. I think we've learned a lot along that path and along the progress of building that out. And Gary's shaking his head. Yes. So it's been a little bit longer road than we intended, but we're getting close. And what I mean by close is we're shooting to have this available in that July, August timeframe to you guys. So we went out and demoed this with some customers, talked through different workflows in their operations, and we learned some things that we hadn't taken into consideration. So we've got some things we need to kind of button up and add. Not major lifts. I mean, the core is there. We just have some things we need to add to it. The team's working behind the scenes on getting the digital signature capture piece tied to Cynergi and the whole Cynergi front end and UI. So all that work is happening in parallel. And we're, like I said, we're shooting for that July, August timeframe to roll this out. So the intent is to allow customers to review and sign rental agreements virtually. That would include addendums and things that go with the agreement. So it would be one big, bundle of digital documents that get signed. We've got an email workflow currently that will, that you can customize with your logo and your, color schema. And then there'll be a link in Cynergi Suite where you can review and print and share digitally signed agreements. So again, when you're in that account maintenance screen or that customer screen in Cynergi, you'll be able to access the digitally signed documents to reprint them, to email them to the customer, etc. So next slide, Donna. And actually, I think, let me share my screen here and I'll just walk you through what this looks like here before I dive into this next slide. Bear with me here. Can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right, so Gary generated this email for me last night. This portion of it's functioning. We registered a domain, signhereplease.com, and that's just so the emails aren't coming from High Touch. The emails aren't coming from your email domain. It's a separate email domain that they come through. This is all hosted out in AWS. It is truly a standalone system platform that will be tied in to Cynergi and other things going forward, right? So we built it in that way. So this is the email that I was talking about. You'll be able to, through the admin portal or admin setup area, you'll be able to customize the colors on the email in these bars, drop your logo in, and obviously the language around the link for them to sign. And obviously your company contact information, phone numbers, etc. One of the things we learned when we talked to some legal counsel on this is that you have to provide customers with the ability to request the documents in printed paper form, right? So there's going to be some, the language that needs to be in this email stating how they do that, and we can help walk you through that. So I'm just going to click on the link here. So this is real simple. Click here to sign the document. Thank you, company name. So when I do that, it's going to take me out to this web page. Can you guys see that? Okay. Okay, perfect. So there's a couple of ways that they can go about this. There's a banner up here at the top. We're actually going to we're talking about moving this down to more center screen in a pop-up modal so that it's right in front of them, so it's not blending in with the top of the page. So they can come up here and click create signature and create their signature and initial block here. Or if they scroll down through the document and look to make sure everything looks right and they go to sign or click to sign in the fields that are highlighted to sign, it'll also pop up that same prompt asking them to create their signature. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And pick this other one here. And then because I clicked on that box already, right, it's going to sign there for me. I can continue to review the document, go to the next page. There's the next spot I need to sign. For those of you that have done this kind of thing on DocuSign or one of those, I mean, it's a very similar look and feel and workflow to what you see with those. So I'm going to get all this signed and click finish. And obviously this message will be much more beautiful, center screen, nice colorful font and all that. For the development box, it's not that. It's it's this small text up in the top left corner. So from there, I should be getting an email notifying me that the document has been completed.
No, you should get one that you need to sign the next one.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry, guys. This document we went with a two signer. So a leaser and a leasee and a co-leasee. So I should be getting another document asking me to sign the other line.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to IT. Apparently, you don't have the jason.mock@hightouchinc.com email address.
Okay.
So
All right.
let me send you one that's just to the same.
Well, I can just do this just for sake of time,
Okay.
Gary. So you get an email kicked back to you that says, hey, your document's complete. Here's your signed document. You can click the link. It will then go out to the portal. And this is a different document, obviously, and you can pull up where, you've got your signed document, right? This same link will be hyperlinked in the cynergi platform, so that you can access it, pull it back up, print it, etc. Right? Donna, I'm going to stop screen sharing. There we go. Okay, so some of the additional features that we got feedback from talking with customers on is, and the legal counsel for that matter. So the customer identity verification. So one of the things we're kicking around and looking at, and it will be an optional feature because it's not required. So there's a federal e-sign act that basically states that any act of signing a document is legally binding, right? And so that covers you. But we felt like there should probably be something additional there, just to verify that is in fact who is signing the document. So we've kicked around some different ideas, maybe have them input in their last four of their social, last four of their cell phone, something to validate and verify that the person that clicked on that link is in fact the person signing the document. We do capture IP address and, MAC address and date and time and all that stuff that behind the scenes that, stamps where the signature came from. But we're looking at creating some sort of an additional customer identity verification piece. Then, obviously some visual enhancements, which I kind of joked about with the, the wording and stuff being real plain text, etc. So just getting that whole UI cleaned up. And then one of the other things the legal counsel talked to us about is it's not required, but they recommend it when the customer first gets to that e-sign portal, basically giving them some sort of a checkbox that says, I understand that I am giving my consent to transact business digitally and, et cetera, et cetera. So, there'll be a little tick box there that acknowledges the fact that they're about to transact digitally. We've heard from customers that text notifications would be important. So instead of just email for this workflow, being able to also send a text message. So in Cynergi, the way that this works is, so when you get to that point where you're ready to typically print out the rental agreement, there'll now be more options, right? So it won't be just a print the agreement. There'll be a print the agreement, email the agreement for digital signature. And then obviously, one of the things we talked about, Gary and I, is if they're opted in for text messaging, give you the option to text the agreement to the customer. And if they're not, showing that, that option's grayed out and giving you some sort of ability to get to the point where you're opting them in for text, right? So that you can transact and conduct that business over text message. Then there's real-time Cynergi notifications. So that's just part of like the dashboard piece of this that we're building out in Cynergi so that you can see how many digitally signed document requests you have outstanding, how many of them have been completed, how many of them are not complete. Basically giving you some sort of real-time notification, letting you know, hey, you've got a signed document that's now complete so that your store personnel can countersign on your behalf on the leasing documents. And then that's kind of to that last bullet point there. So home office and store level dashboards. So basically a store being able to see how many digital agreements they have outstanding and pending. And then at a home office level, you being able to see across the whole. So that way, if there's stuff that's lingering, not getting wrapped up, not getting completed, you can, reach out to your stores and kind of see what's going on with those. So that's some of the stuff that we have in front of us between now and, that July, August timeframe. I will tell you, one of the other things I was hoping to announce here on this call, and I'm not quite ready for it yet, but I'll just tell you, I've been working my rear off to figure out how we can get this to you guys as part of the cynergi platform, meaning not charging you anything to use this. I'm not quite there yet. I'm working through all the final details around that. I mean, again, we want to minimize what this means to you guys financially, right? And if I can make it to where it's just included as part of the platform, then I'll absolutely do that for you.
Keep working on that, Jason.
I'm trying, my man. I'm trying. And like I said, I was hoping to be able to announce that here. I just, one of the, and I'll just be palms up here. So the platform and stuff, I'm not as much worried about. The piece I'm worried about, and I'm trying to wrap my arms around, is obviously we've got to go through and touch all the forms to identify where the signature block goes, right? Where the date goes, where all this stuff is at. Somebody's got to do that, right? On our side, and in those teams that do that sort of work. I'm trying to figure out what that time looks like to do that, and how many documents there are, and how often those change, and what does that do to the signature line, and where that's placed, and what does that mean for us from where you need to sign, you know what I mean? So there's just that detail that I'm working through. I've got my arms around the costs on storage and AWS and all that. That part I'm not as concerned about. I'm trying to wrap my arms around the other piece of that deal. So as soon as I have that and understand what that looks like, I'll come back to you guys and let you know what that means and what that looks like. But I'm trying like hell to make this just part of the platform. I think it's a competitive differentiator. I think it's going to change the way you guys conduct business, and it drives us towards where we're trying to get, which is you being able to do a fully digital transaction, from capturing the customer info, validating that, picking inventory, and then having them electronically sign off on the agreements and make a payment and pick a delivery date, right? That's ultimately where we're trying to get with this. So I'll stop talking because I know Kate's got a lot of cool stuff she wants to show you with HO and HOA. So Kate, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. So everyone should be able to see a Cynergi Suite screen now. So this is the Cynergi Suite modernization, the home office accounting that we're currently working on. So all the data that's accessed from this will be stored in Postgres database tables. Your current data from the Cynergi ISAM files will be migrated over to these Postgres database tables. This modernization is going to be deployed in 2 phases. The first phase is the home office accounting phase, and the second phase will be the store side. So just looking at the menus are organized by the modules of AP, GL, bank rec, purchase order, and then the master files. And so within each one, we've grouped, processes related to AP, so invoice maintenance, payment maintenance, then the reports that would be available with AP, as well as a month-end process, if it makes sense for the module. GL is the same way, a GL inquiry, the journal entries, the different kinds of journal entries that we can have, as well as GL reports and the GL month end. Bank recs, it's integrated fully with the AP and the GL. It's as compared to, the first two are much beefier. This is a much simpler process, but still important as far as managing your money and keeping yourself in sync with your bank accounts. And then purchase order, it is probably the most commonly used. Almost all of the Cynergi clients use the purchase order process. You know, the big part is maintaining your POs, creating POs, changing them as needed, sending them to your vendors as needed, as well as the PO reports. And then we have our master control files, either at the home office level or restricted. So, and these are the master files that are related to the home office accounting. So just to give you a view of those, you know, this is banks. You can control how many you want to see on a screen. You can generate a report. All of our reports are PDF reports that you can choose to either download or print, and it's going to use Windows printing. So you're printing this from the Windows world, so there doesn't have to be a separate printer. It's whatever you're using for your Windows printer and how you want to do that. Chart of accounts. You know, banks usually a much smaller. Master file chart of accounts is usually something that's quite a bit larger. So, you know, then, you know, these results per page, it might make more sense as far as, you know, what you want to see for that. But you also have the chart of accounts is searchable. So if you put in 3 characters, then it'll come up with the accounts that, and it's searching on the name. And so it can help, you know, for your longtime experienced accounting people, they probably have your chart accounts memorized already. And they may not use this, but for those that are newer with your company or that don't use that as often, this is something that will be powerful for them. And the last one I just wanted to touch on was the vendor. So the vendor master control file is something that's much larger. And so it has a lot more fields, but it's still all the same fields and information that you're seeing today in Cynergi. It's just, you know, the viewing it and how you're seeing that, but the same amount of data is still there. And then we have grouped the master files that pertain particularly to vendor together. You know, one of the features is you can set up vendor groups, and you can, that will help you with reporting. If you're wanting to, you know, if you had a vendor group of 1099s or a vendor group of rent, you can use that for your reporting. You can use that for some of your recurring AP invoices processes using those vendor groups to help you be more efficient. Your accounting people always have more work to do than they can get done. So anything that we can do to help them be more efficient is a benefit for them. Vendor term codes is also something that's set up on each vendor as far as, you know, their terms they set up. I'll just pull up the 30, 60, 90. You can, if you have vendors where you can make multiple payments on invoice, you can make up to 12. You could split it up across 12 different payments. Probably, you know, it might be an insurance payment or something, you might be able to do that. But if you have a vendor that'll let you spread an invoice across 12 months, that's a good thing. And you can set up whatever percentage. It can be equal payments. It can be, you know, whatever percentage you need to do as far as those payments, it just had, the only requirement is it has to add up to 100%. You also have the ability, if you can set up percentages, and then the rules for what is value, and you can't do a percentage on multiple payments. Let's go here. So you could set up a percentage if you, and you can set up the business rules. If you pay by the 10th of the month, you can get a 2% discount, or, you know, whatever your vendor has as far as your terms. That is very configurable as far as the discount and how you want that applied. Okay, our restricted master control files. These are, again, these AP, PO, and GL control. They are things that are currently in Cynergy as far as the switches on how you want your AP to work. Maybe accounts that are used, you know, for the AP process. Purchase order control maintenance is the same way. The different ways you want your purchase orders when they're created, you know, what they may default to, your ship to locations, you know, all those kinds of parameters that you currently have. And then GL control. This is, you know, set up for the accounts that you default to as it relates to AP, your default main location. All of those are currently in the GL defaults in the Cynergy system. And the last one I wanted to speak to was company. This particular system has 3 companies on it, but we're logged into the amazing rent to own. And so one of the master files that's new to our modernization is the financial calendar. It is an expansion from 1 year of what we have for GL reporting in Cynergy to 4 years. And you will be able to have up to 24 months open for your GL, but you will have reporting across the 4 years. The current month and the future, you know, the next financial period, as well as the 2 previous years. You'll be able to do GL reports, trial balance, profit center trial balance, financial statements. For those, especially those 2 years in the past, are the things that you just don't have access to today. But with this modernization, you will be able to generate those reports and financial statements for the past. So I wanted to give you a quick view of a couple of reports, and so you can see how those would look. So the AP aging report, and you have the ability, you know, for the sort by options, and then we're going to click on build the report. One of the things that we're doing consistently on all our reports is all of the criteria that the user chose when they generated the report will be at the top of the first page. And so the aging report doesn't have, you know, that many options, so it's just a few, but it's very readable with the difference in the grayscales as far as the totaling and how you can see those values in the report. Your totals, again, we're using the Windows printing. You can choose to download this, or you can choose to print it. And you know, what makes the most sense for your business. And then if we look at the AP payment report, it's going to have a lot more criteria as compared to the aging. You know, you can do it by, you know, vendors, payment numbers. This is the same functionality that you have currently today in Cynergy. And when things are required, they will be highlighted the box will be highlighted in red. Kind of go on down. I'm going to let all the other criteria default, but kind of let you see those. But again, those are all things that we have. Okay, we can see all the criteria is at the top page. See, this one has a lot more information. So this helps you if you're, it may not make sense for this report, but if a trial balance, you're trying to send something to a CPA or a bank, they very much can see exactly what was chosen to generate this report. It's going to have, when it was, physically generated, and then all the criteria that was chosen.
And Kate, I think you touched on it before. This is kind of a preview of some of the stuff that we talked about at Trib, where we're trying to get as hardware agnostic as we can, and not be tied to specific printers, et cetera. As we work our way through the system, this reporting setup will be what, very similar to what you see on the store facing side of things as well, to where you'll be able to download and print via the Windows printing mechanism instead of being tied to, a specific HP LaserJet printer model, et cetera. I think that's critical the supply chain's not getting any better, unfortunately. So the easier we can make that for you guys to where you're not having to seek and search for a specific type of printer, and we're not either. It's going to make everybody's lives a lot better. So.
Okay, a few of the new functionality improvements that we're doing that I wanted to make you aware on and touch on is as it relates to AP, we're going to add the ability to mark AP invoices as paid by checks or ACH payments. Both checks and the ACH payments will interface with the bank reconciliation process. We'll have detailed accounting lines for each AP invoice payment instead of the current summary entry created by AP to the GL interface. So if you're trying to track down issues that you may have, you're seeing each individual, the accounting for each individual check instead of this one big number, and you're trying to figure out where your problem may be. We're going to add flags on the AP invoices and AP payments to track the interfacing of the data to GL. You will have the option to have a parameter control the timing of this posting of the AP invoices and the AP payments to the GL. The user can choose to post immediately when they save the open invoice, or when it's marked as paid, they can choose to have that immediately post to their GL, or they can continue to use the monthly batch process as cynergi is designed today. There'll be additional AP inquiry displays, the employee who entered the invoice, any discount that was taken, provide a point and pick when you have multiple invoices that use the same vendor and invoice ID, such as a common example of that is utility bills. They don't really have an invoice ID on those. That's unique to each of the months. We're adding the start and end date for recurring AP invoices, and we're adding visibility of the use of the AP recurring invoice process and the recurring GL journal entries. As it relates to GL, as I mentioned earlier, we're increasing the GL financial statement trial balance reporting from 1 year to 4 years. We're adding the ability to control when reversal journal entries are posted. Immediate posting will be available if the user chooses. The accounting entries that make up a balanced accounting entry will have a unique journal entry number. These values will be visible on GL reports and searchable via GL report criteria. Excuse me. And lastly, purchase order. We're adding PO functionality to more efficiently create POs for vendors who have separate models for the bedroom and living room groups. But you as a user may want the stores to receive this group as one inventory unit. So we're adding another level for being able to put those PO detail models. Specifically, Ashley is one vendor that does a lot of that. So I will open up to any questions.
We got a few questions in the chat here that came directly to me, so I'm going to read them real quick, and whoever can answer
Okay.
them, please do. So we got one message that says, "Love the PDF to local printers. Will it spit out in CSV format as well?"
Okay, some of our reports, some of the GL reports create an export already, but as far as a PDF kind of layout, it is, you can get software that will parse a PDF file. And then you could pull that into Excel.
Okay. Got another question. Check printing will be in Windows, will be Windows based also? Question mark. So in printing their checks, will that be through Windows printing as well?
Yes, it will be.
Awesome. And last question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to make one comment real quick. So, you know, at Trib, we talked about Project E and the modernization of the system and the more long-term plan. This is part of that, right? This is part of that overarching project to get the platform fully modern, no legacy code under the covers, et cetera. Super exciting stuff. The things like Darwil and digital signature capture and the enhancements to the pay by text and stuff, that's all part of that ongoing effort and the value that we're going to deliver along the way. Because I think it felt like after we talked at Trib, those that were there, you know, it was this feeling of, well, I'm not going to get anything for at least a year until they get through with the home office accounting. And that's absolutely not the case. We're going to continue to release things and work on projects and push those things out along the way. Sorry, Doug, go ahead. I didn't realize we had another question.
No, we got a couple more here real quick. So we have a question. Are we still tied to the number of characters for both model number and serial number?
I know that it's being increased. You know, that will be part of phase 2.
Yeah.
It's being increased from what it is, but off the top of my head, I'm not remembering what the decision was as far as what it was increased to.
Yeah, I don't recall the exact character count, Kate. I do know it's getting increased. So what Kate's talking about with phase 1 and phase 2, again, from the Trib presentation. So the first piece of this was to address the back office, home office accounting portion of the system, which is what this is. The second phase of this, when we get through this piece, is to start working through all the programs that make up the store side of the system. So customer maintenance, rental agreement, rental payment, inventory, collections, et cetera, right? We will work through each one of those one by one and completely bring them forward into the fully modern code set. And with that will come additional features and functions and things that have been, that we've talked about. So, and that's one of them, right? So we're increasing it. I don't know what it is, to Kate's point, but we can certainly find out and relay that information.
Awesome. Last question I see here. Will you have the ability to inactivate a vendor that you are not currently using?
Okay, I was reviewing the vendor master file. I'm not seeing a switch for that currently. If it was a vendor that you didn't have anything linked to, you had no AP invoices and no POs, you would be able to delete it. But if you still say you have a vendor that you're no longer going to use, but you've used them in the past and you still have in your system, you still have AP invoices or POs related to that, you wouldn't be able to delete that vendor. But that is something that I can look into as far as just another one of these bullets that would be inactivate. You're not going to delete it because you still have the history that's related to it, but you might not want it used as far as anybody accidentally creating AP invoices or POs. You will still be able to have PO models where you can mark them as inactive, so they're not available to be ordered on POs going forward. Okay.
The nice thing is you're asking that question of the gal that's running point on the HO and HOA project, right, Kate?
Yes. Okay, and then the question, kind of quick on the PO part, will this new PO allow for groups and individual pieces? Example would be the Ashley pieces and the Ashley groups. Yes, it will. So you would be able to have a model that your stores are going to see, and I'm just going to use ABC 1, 2, 3 as the model that the stores would have on their bedroom group. But, you know, when you order that model, that bedroom group from Ashley, they want you to use a different model for the headboard and a different model for the dresser and a different model for the nightstands. And you will be able to enter all of those separate models and then the quantity that you want to order for those models. So that is something that's expanding of the PO module that we don't have currently in Cynergi. Other questions? Okay, question of, will it also take a CVS upload?
I think he was meaning CSV.
CSV?
Yeah.
As it's designed currently, I don't know that it will do that, but that is something that we can look into.
I did not write this. This is all from full OPEP, but I have a quick question about the PO. So if we getting pieces from Ashley and we create our own model number ABC, and I'm gonna order it as 1, 2, 3 items from Ashley at the receiving time, when we receive the PO, that's gonna be tied to the inventory, and how that will affect the serial number we are gonna be receiving.
Okay, when the store does the receiving process, you know, for those POs, it will create a single inventory unit that uses model ABC 1, 2, 3. But during the receiving process, it will ask say we ordered 2 nightstands, 1 dresser, and 1 headboard. It will ask them, you know, how many nightstands did you receive? 2 were ordered. How many did you get? How many, you know, dressers did you get? 1 was ordered. What did you get? So you would be able to know that they got all the pieces that belong to that model, because that will be important information when it comes to dealing with the invoice for that you pay for only what you received.
Thank you.
Great question. Anyone else?
For anything that we've talked about on the webinar, it doesn't have to just be, you know, the accounting demo.
Yeah, if there's questions on pay by text or digital signature or Darwil. While we're waiting to see if anybody else has any additional questions, I'm just curious from a format standpoint, you guys feel like this is beneficial, something that you would attend on a quarterly basis? Any feedback on that you have would be appreciated, since this is our first go at doing something like this.
Jason, this is Rauf again, and this is the most efficient way probably to present this, to have multiple people. One, they can chat. Two, they can say their opinion, or they can send the private messages to if they need a specific need. So from an efficiency point of view, that would be the best. That would be, yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we had one come in from Lauren on PO changes.
Yes, and so it's going to be received in as one inventory unit. So it's not going to be able, to break that apart into multiple inventory units. It's going to stay as a single group.
What was the question there, Kate?
Sorry. When the PO changes after receiving a group model number, would you be able to break apart the pieces separately for different agreements? And it's going to stay as a single inventory record. It won't be able to be made into multiple inventory records. And we had a question about the timeline for Accounting Live. We're looking at the first quarter of 2023 for starting the betas.
All right, Lauren had a question on text messaging. I frequently use Synergy text campaigns for marketing. We currently can't use special characters. Yeah, so that was part of the enhancement, Lauren, was to add the ability to leverage special characters in those texting campaigns. So yes, that's been addressed. I don't know about emojis, but I would imagine those are built with special characters. So, I mean, maybe, I don't know that we've tested that, but
Yeah, I don't think we have an emoji library available yet, but just random special characters is definitely supported.
okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? All right, so there's Jan and I's contact information if you guys don't have it already. Feel free to reach out to us if you have additional questions, concerns, comments, etc. Like I said, we're going to try to do this quarterly. So, I'd venture to guess that maybe once we're ready to go live with digital signature, so sometime in, that August timeframe, probably circle back and do this again, walk you through the Synergy side of it and the workflow with Synergy tied in and texting and some of that other stuff, right, that the team's working on, and announce that it's live and then, update you on any other projects that are done and ready to talk about or what's coming next. So I appreciate everybody's time and don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Thank you.
Jason.
Yep, thank you.
It's nice to
Thank
see you
you.
guys. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. We'll see you. You guys have a good day.
For the presentation.